I'll tell you, folks, I'm struggling here to maintain my composure. CNN actually just had a headline up, Jeff Sessions soon to arrive at his Department of Justice office. They're quaking in fear. They had a panel. They had two people assembled to discuss Jeff Sessions arriving at work. They're literally panicked and in fear. Oh, my God, Jeff Sessions is going to get to his office soon. What then? You mean he's really going to be Attorney General? You mean he's really going to do stuff? Oh, no. Greetings and welcome back, folks. Great to have you. Rush Limbaugh behind a golden EIB microphone at 800-282-2882. The email address, lrushbo@eibnet.us. Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, the senator, just one more thing on this. He's out there asking questions of Gorsuch, and Gorsuch doesn't say anything, and it gets characterized as Gorsuch agreeing. And here's an example from it's going to scroll out of view if somebody doesn't stop real soon. It's talking to thehill.com. And I said to him, this is Blumenthal. I said to him, if a litigant before your court, and the President of the United States is, in fact, a litigant right now in the immigration ban cases, I asked Judge Gorsuch, would you hold him in contempt of court? Blumenthal said, adding that Gorsuch did not have a response to that comment. Well, why didn't Blumenthal claim that Gorsuch didn't disagree with him on that point, too? After all, he didn't say anything. And yet everybody's out reporting here that Gorsuch is out trashing Trump for what he said about Judge Robart. And look, to the extent that Gorsuch is behaving the way he is, he's giving the left less and less reason to oppose him. Less and less, in a public sense. I mean, with this stuff being reported, Trump doesn't care. Everybody thinks Trump's ego is so fragile that if Gorsuch actually would go out there and say that I am very disheartened by what President Trump is doing, there are people that think Trump would be so mad that he would call Gorsuch and fire him before he even got to the Supreme Court. They literally believe this. There are some people who literally believe that Trump would sabotage himself in that way. That would not happen, but they want people to believe it. The idea that they are now reporting that Gorsuch is of a frame of mind that Trump's criticism of the judge is disheartening, all that's going to do is help Gorsuch in the immediate battle ahead, and that is his confirmation. And that's the objective here. Get confirmed, and then after that, none of this matters because he's on the court for as long as he wants to stay. It's a lifetime appointment. So I watch all this, and it falls into the same category. You have a bunch of establishment types who are continuing to go after Trump and his administration and everything he does in the way Republicans have always been attacked, sometimes successfully. But it doesn't apply to Trump. It just doesn't work, and they still haven't been able to get it through their heads that there's an entirely different animal in town and in Washington. And the real impetus here, or the real thing to know, is they still don't understand who elected Trump. And this is, to me, fascinating. I mean, these are people, you look at the media and you look at the Democrats, it's their business. I mean, they have to get ratings in one sense, votes in another. It's their business to understand, in one case, audience, and in the next case, voters. And in both instances, the media and the Democrats have contempt for a majority of Americans who voted for Donald Trump. And so there is no effort made to reach out to them. There's no effort made to try to understand who they are. There's no real effort made to understand why they voted for Trump. There isn't any effort made to understand why they give Trump such a wide berth. They don't care to learn any of this. They just condemn it as it happens, and they think that their condemnation will eventually persuade people to leave Trump or to abandon Trump or to lose their vigorous support for Trump. That's not going to happen. Only Trump can do that. It was the same way during the campaign. As hard as people were trying to separate Trump from his voters, they weren't going to be able to do it. And you know why? It's the same old saw. The media didn't make Trump, and the Republican Party didn't make Trump. Trump made Trump. Now, if the media happens to make you, by that I mean if you are who you are because the media has sung your praises and done a series of soft soap profiles, if the media treats you as a godlike figure, and that's why you're famous, well, the media can destroy you the next day if they want to. All they have to do is change the way they cover you. And if the Republican Party is responsible for your success, let's say you're a newly elected freshman from Battle Creek, and you want to rise the ladder of success in the House of Representatives, and the Republican Party helps you do that, and then you go against the leadership, they can take everything away from you that they gave you and destroy your political future. But if you get there on your own, as Trump has, the media can try all they want, and they're not going to be able to separate Trump's voters from Trump. And the Republican Party is not going to be able to do that either. Only Trump can. But even with all that, you would think CNN, I mean, they clearly want to have an audience. Look at Hollywood. They clearly want to have an audience. They want to have box office, but Hollywood's losing box office. ESPN's losing subscribers. CNN, for all that people talk about it, doesn't really have an audience, particularly when you compare it to the Fox News audience. I mean, they're on in all the airports. They're in places where it appears they have a sizable audience. But if you look at the actual numbers, they don't. And they hold in contempt the people who represent an opportunity to grow the audience. Hollywood holds in contempt the people who represent the opportunity to increase box office sales. And the Democrat Party holds in contempt now white working class voters. They abandoned them in November of 2011, and instead the Democrat Party is trying to get where it wants to go on this belief that the white majority is soon not going to be a white majority. It's going to be the minority. And so the Democrats have already thrown in with who they think the combination next majority is going to be, a coalition of a bunch of different minorities now. Well, the problem is the white majority is still the majority. They're still 77% of the country. There's still a long time to go before the white majority isn't the majority anymore. But they're already acting like the white majority's days are over and done with. And they hold them in contempt at the same time. And so all of this that you see with Gorsuch supposedly distasteful about what Trump is saying, it all comes under the umbrella that since they find Trump objectionable, and since they find Trump unacceptable, since they find Trump embarrassing, that everybody who matters does too. And that's simply not the case. A majority of Americans, even if there are strains of people that find things that Trump does unsettling, they're not ready to abandon him yet, because overriding all of this is policy. And I'm going to tell you what the number one policy continues to be. And this is where everybody on this executive order is blowing it and missing it. The number one issue, and you're never going to have this represented honestly because the people that report on it and the Democrat Party don't agree with it and don't believe it, but the number one issue is immigration. Immigration still to this day represents the greatest threat to this country remaining what it is. That has not changed. Donald Trump is the only person in the American political spectrum who's on record as wanting to change it, to stop it, to redirect it. And as such, his support is unwavering. And this executive order is not redounding negatively to him, much as the drive-bys would love you to believe that it is, and much as the Democrats would hope that it is, and much as Judge Robart would think he's actually going to be able to destroy Trump's efforts here. The simple fact of the matter is people support, and there's polling data even now to back this up, that people support Trump's efforts here in this executive order, and that they're not happy with Judge Robart, and that they're not happy with the judiciary here that's piling on, because it represents illegal immigration and wanton refugees coming into the country unvetted. Represents it's kind of like this, folks. It's like climate change has everything in it that the left wants and loves in one issue. Everything, or the vast majority of everything they need to get where they want, is in that issue. Climate change as an issue, and then the supposed things necessary to deal with it is a cornucopia. It's a picnic basket of goodies. Immigration represents much the same thing to people that do not like America, to people that have a problem with America, to people who think America is unjust and immoral from the days of our founding, to the people who think America is the problem in the world, to people who think that America is why there's poverty in the world because we've stolen so many other countries' resources, or what have you. Immigration. Open borders is the simplest, fastest way to cut this country down. Immigration, open borders, unvetted mass illegal immigration is the fastest way to end America as founded. If we're going to let endless numbers of people in, and we're not going to assimilate them, and we're not going to stand for what's always been a distinct American culture, and the people that voted for Donald Trump know this, they are frightened by it, and they can clearly see that the Democrats don't care. In fact, the Democrats seem to support that, and their friends in the judiciary seem to support that policy of open borders and let anybody in on the basis that we owe it to the world to let everybody have some of our prosperity, because it's not fair that we are the only ones that have such prosperity. We must share it because we've destroyed it for so many others. And Trump ran on this notion of stopping this illegal immigration and rekindling some assimilation, and he's the only one who did, prominently. And now that the Democrats and the media are aligned against him in this area, and now apparently a couple of judges, Trump's supporters are rallying to him even more. May not be reported in polling data, because the drive-bys don't want to believe it. They want to believe they're successfully driving a wedge between Trump supporters and Trump. And they think they can do it with all these protests. All these protests show that people are unhappy with Trump. And Elizabeth Warren going bat nuts on the Senate floor, that shows people unhappy with Trump. And the NAACP, the Congressional Black Caucasians, marching on the Senate to oppose Sessions, that shows Americans are unhappy with Trump. And all of these people opposing the border control who are trying to deport illegal aliens, that shows people are unhappy with Trump. The whole point of everything in the news that you see, everything is designed to make you think that the country regrets electing Trump, that they're unhappy with Trump, that they don't support anything Trump is doing. But the people that voted for Trump are not buying it. They're not of that frame of mind. And they are still every bit behind him as they were